is your host, Dr. Tomi Mitchell from the Mental Health and Wellness Show. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing Delia Chiaramonte. She is a palliative care physician and medical director whose mission is to enhance the well-being of those who are ill and aging. She is the founder of the Integrative Palliative Institute and the host of the Integrative Palliative podcast. She teaches integrative and palliative medicine at Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine, University of Maryland, Baltimore, and the University of California, Irvine. Her past positions have included Division Chief of Integrative Palliative Medicine at GBMC and Associate Director of the University of Maryland's Center for Integrative Medicine. Dr. Chiaramonte is the author of Coping Courageously, a heart-centered guide for navigating a loved one's illness without losing yourself. She offers a clinical well-being program, Healing the Heart of the Healer, and speaks often to both medical and lay audiences. And you can connect with Dr. Chiaramonte at www.integrativepalliative.com. And as usual, with no further ado, Dr. Chiaramonte, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. I enjoy our conversations I have with guests before. It helps usually elevate the mood, and definitely in our case, I'm
Yeah,
grinning. Like
me too.
you can't tell I lived off 4 hours of sleep. I don't normally do that, but life happens. But yeah, I'm very happy for this conversation because we have many philosophies and interests that are very similar. But before I start blabbing, maybe if you don't mind sharing with our listeners a little bit about yourself so they can get a heart for who is this doctor on the show today.
Sure, absolutely. So I started also as a family doctor and I practiced regular family medicine for years. And what I found at the time was that some people were coming to me and they felt terrible, but I couldn't find anything wrong with them. They couldn't sleep and they were tired and their head hurt and their stomach felt yucky, but I did all the things and I couldn't find anything wrong. And that led me to the path of integrative medicine. And I found that when I started treating them as a whole person, meaning how's how are you feeling? How are things going at home? What's your stress level like? What are you eating? Do you sleep? Do you move? When I started treating them in that way, they got better. And then they sent their friends, and then their friends got better. And I started to think, what is this? Because I didn't learn that in medical school.
No?
And I found, oh my gosh, there's a whole field called integrative medicine that approaches people in this way, which is how I ended up at the University of Maryland as the associate director of the Center for Integrative Medicine. But then on the side, I did a little hospice work. And then my mind got blown because here's what I found, that my hospice patients often were pretty happy.
Hmm.
And that was not what I was taught in medical school. I was taught in medical school, like you probably were.
Yes.
People are unhappy and sick, you make them better, they'll be happy. And what I found actually was a little bit the opposite, that the palliative care hospice patients that I was caring for had a totally different approach to life. They felt like, well, my life is short. I'm going to stop doing the things that I don't like. I'm going to stop hanging out with the people that I don't like. I'm going to spend my day filled with things that fill me up. And then even in the face of a really serious illness, they were happier. And that blew my mind and took me in the direction of palliative care, which is not just end of life care, but is the care of the whole person and family of someone who's facing a serious illness, focus on relieving suffering. So
Mm.
even early in the illness, focused on relieving suffering. And then really what I found was combining those two things together really was the best way to take care of people and families who are facing serious illness. So using all the tools that the integrative community has, bringing them on over to palliative care and treating people and families facing serious illness with all the tools that the integrative approach provides. So that's how I ended up where I am right now.
Yeah, I love the journey as, fellow family doctor, definitely as family doctors. I say, um, we are a jack of many trades and a master of some.
Exactly.
So, so we have to know a lot of things. And the more nerdy we are, I'm sure you were one who was like, I'm going to learn this.
100%.
I'm going to learn this. Like, why would I want to forget about this? I want to bring this in and bring in this. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. It was like a
Yep.
curiosity journey that challenged the establishment of the traditional way of looking at the disease model, where this is a person, they have this disease, fix them.
Right. Here's this
Cure
medicine.
them.
It's going
Here's
to
this
take away all the
medicine.
problems. Right.
Yeah, and I think don't get us wrong, medicine has a wonderful place, but I don't think it's for many things it's should not be the first line. We got to look at the foundation, the taking a holistic approach, who they are as a person. Like wellness is not just physical, as we focus on it's emotional, mental, environmental, social, intellectual. Like it's all of these factors that we have to look into that whole person, look at their who are their support systems, what makes them tick, what annoys them, like what are their goals, what are their fears, why, really just digging deep. And I love that. Integrative. I don't hear a lot of integrative medicine. Maybe I'm just, I don't know. I hear more lifestyle medicine, but integrative medicine, maybe share with more of our listeners, like more about it.
Sure. I think the standard integrative medicine, and I'm in one little piece, which is integrative palliative care, but the concept of integrative medicine really is about caring for the whole person, looking at root causes, not just band-aids over symptoms, and having a bigger toolbox. So, real integrative medicine physicians, for example, definitely use medications, but they may also, if they have a patient who can't sleep because they have anxiety, for example, they may not just give anxiety medicine, but they may teach guided imagery or meditation. They may encourage the person to do yoga or Tai Chi or Qigong. If people are having maybe shoulder or neck pain or headaches because they're stressed all the time and they're hunching their shoulders up like we all do sometimes, maybe they
Hmm.
would send them to a manual medicine practitioner or massage therapist or chiropractor. So it's a whole person approach. It looks at what's kind of driving, you have a headache because you're clenching your shoulders because you're so stressed. Let's not just give you a headache medicine. Let's help you work on your stress, right? Let's look at the,
100%.
the underneath. And then my piece, what really just calls to me is using that approach for people with serious illness. Because what I found, I was for 10 years at the University of Maryland, and a little bit what I found in the integrative medicine community at large, I don't think this is the philosophy, but at large, is that there was a great focus on lifestyle and wellness and prevention of disease, which is great.
Hmm.
But some people have disease. And I,
Well,
I felt like
exactly.
we shouldn't say that, well, you don't belong in the integrative medicine world just because you have cancer or just because you
Yeah.
have, congestive heart failure. Like we should use all our tools over there to help that population too.
Yeah. And I don't always agree with WHO, but they do say about, health is not the absence of disease. You can have health with
Exactly.
disease, right?
Exactly. And
Like,
that's
so,
what I found, right? In the hospice
right?
patient. They had
Yes.
terrible disease and they had often, not always, but often pretty good mental health, actually.
Yeah. So that's refreshing. That really is. I'm definitely going to check that out.
And then,
Excuse me. Yeah, go ahead.
let's see, one of the things I was thinking when you were talking is that not only is this true for our patients, but of course it's true for us too, as the
Yes,
clinicians, right? And I think that's so important because if we're supposed to show up as empathetic, caring people for our patients in a really tough job, we have to fill up our own cup too. We have to look at what drives us and what are we doing or not doing to support or not support our wellness. So part of caring for patients is caring for yourself as a clinician. And so that became a really important focus for me too. And I got involved in wellness for clinicians. And I just think it's part of actually caring for patients
it is
is
a
focusing
key
on
part.
wellness for clinicians.
Honestly, I feel like if a clinician is not well themselves, they are not going to show up 100% for that patient.
Right.
They're
They're
going to
not.
have blind spots. It's like a physician, let's say they're struggling with, I don't know, let's say smoking. They're smoking like a pack a day and they know it's terrible, but they do.
Yeah.
How many of these physicians are going to be comfortable with talking to their patient about smoking cessation?
Right.
Because they feel like, or even their, or I talked about sleep, or the importance of it,
Yep.
or healthy relationships, emotional intelligence, like talking about uncomfortable situations, if they and themselves are not comfortable talking about them. And I find, in my experience, physicians who really excel are the ones who are really grounded, and are continuously taking the time to look at themselves and keep themselves strong and are open to learning and are devoted to learning and with empathy and
Yep.
kindness, all these traits that are need to be said more of, right? So I agree. Physicians, nurse practitioners, whoever, thou art our healers. We
Yeah.
are supposed to be the healers. Why are we out of all the professions out there, we are the sickest. And that, well,
Yeah,
we know there's many reasons, but still, despite those
right.
external factors, we still have the power over ourselves and what we
Yeah,
do.
yet the
Yes,
suicide rate for physicians is higher than the general population,
yes,
which is crazy because financially, generally, we're fairly comfortable. That you would think
yes.
that wouldn't be. So something is wrong. And of course, the way we're trained, you can't eat, you can't pee, you can't sleep, you can't cry, right? So in
Yeah,
residency, when you're being trained, we're not taught how to manage our own feelings, how
not
to
at
take care of
all.
ourselves so we can really show up for our people. We're just like with the whip, just keep going, keep going, keep going.
Oh, yeah, we were little serfs. We were little like,
Yeah,
barely in paid people, like minimum less than minimum
right.
wage.
And
It
then
was,
then we're supposed to show up as attendings and be well and balanced. Of course that.
oh, yeah, I recently put an article out. I don't know when this podcast will go out, but it was a Kevin MD in July because July is when, new residents
Mm,
show up, students show up, and it can be scary. And I normalized it. Like, it's okay if you don't know. Like, this is like just changing the narrative or make sure you prioritize yourself. Like, you take care of yourself.
yep,
Like, we have to change this culture of medicine, and it starts with us. So, you know, we can choose to make healthy choices. We can choose to support ourselves. And you mentioned physicians and finances, and yeah, we're definitely significantly above average. Yes, it's always outliers. But and you said it wasn't finances that helps us. Well, there's that Harvard longitudinal study, it's 85 plus years, which talks about the greatest predictors for a long and healthy life. And it wasn't fame, it wasn't finances, it wasn't status. It was the quality of relationships,
yep,
right? And that's
yep,
a conversation I often have in my work, whether my TEDx or just my patients, is our relationships, that connection matter. And the relationships I talk about, three critical. One is yourself, how you deal
yes,
with stuff, your beliefs, identity, that in like your past definitely has a huge part of that. Secondly, your tribe, your significant other, your close confidence, like who are your people. And
yeah,
then thirdly, work in society and figuring out those relationships is really important. And I know in your work you talk about secondary traumatization, and that has a lot to do with oneself and
yep.
the impact of one's work. So maybe if you could talk about what that is and how it impacts physicians and other clinicians.
Absolutely. So, secondary traumatization is when we are impacted, we as clinicians are impacted by seeing other people suffer.
Hmm.
And in medicine, it's pretty hard to not see somebody suffer. Even if
Exactly.
you're in pediatrics, God forbid something terrible happens to a child,
Yes.
there's pretty much no specialty where there's not some suffering. OB
Hmm.
is mostly happy until it's catastrophically
Oh,
not happy,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
And so we are human beings too. And so there's kind of the two extremes, neither of which are good. The two extremes are I'm so open that everyone's suffering eats me up.
Hmm.
That's not good.
Mm-mm.
But some people, some physicians, and maybe even we were trained this way a little bit, cope with that by slamming down this door and keeping everybody away from their emotions, right? And
Yes.
like closing off their emotions, like your suffering doesn't bother me. But the truth is that doesn't work. Of course it bothers you. And when you have slammed down that door, you also bring that door home, and that impacts your relationships with your tribe, with your significant other, with your
Yeah.
children. It's and with yourself, even if you're like, I have no painful emotions, I never feel sad, that's not a healthy, grounded
Not
person.
at all.
And so developing the skills to be in the middle where you do feel some of other people's suffering, but you have skills for managing that for yourself so you don't slam the door shut is crucial for all clinicians. And I don't think anybody ever teaches us how to do that.
That is very true. I don't remember being taught. I had to learn it
Right,
in my own journey, clinical
right,
journey. Yep.
right. And I think another thing that's really important is that sometimes we're extra impacted. So if there's some amount of countertransference, meaning
Yeah.
we see something in the patient that touches us as a person, like, oh my gosh, that guy who just got that terrible diagnosis looks just like my dad. And
Mm,
now I'm, even more secondarily traumatized because I'm in the place of like, oh my gosh, what if that happens to my dad? Or remembering a loss of she looks like my mom and my mom died recently. So that we have to be aware of our own stuff, like our buttons. What are our buttons? That when we see someone in this circumstance, it's going to push our buttons and be harder for us because then we want to supercharge our own well-being skills when the interchange is over. So if you're not aware of what really makes you upset and you're just like tight and like nothing will bother me, then you don't have the opportunity to take care of yourself when you really need to take care of yourself when somehow your buttons have been pushed. So it's such an important skill and it's learnable. It's not
100%.
impossible. But if you don't talk about it and think about it and have some self-reflection, like what are my buttons? What are the things that really get me? What should I do to fill myself back up once I feel depleted from a tough interchange? How can I show up for somebody who's suffering and be there for them without having my own soul be eaten up? How do I do that? I think is so important. And it's one of the reasons I really love teaching and teaching medical students and residents and attendings even these skills because it allows you to stay in medicine and not get burnt out,
Yeah,
but also grow as a person. You know,
100%.
it's a way to grow.
It's interesting when you said soul sucking, that just made me think to my book. It's a really long title. My next book will have a short title because this one's like a mouthful, but it's called The Soul Sucking Energy Draining Life of a Physician: How to Live a Life of Service Without Losing Yourself. And I know you mentioned that in your
Love it.
bio about living that life of service without losing yourself. And that's in your book, I believe. So
Yep.
it's like, yeah, it truly can be. And I'm just thinking back on residency, which was for me like 16 years ago or something like that. I don't know when I started, but a long time ago. And going into my first residency program, which was actually my first rotation, which was general surgery, and just
Mhm.
feeling like a fish out of water. Like there was no preparation for anything. It's like you went from being a student to like, oh, this person comes in with stage 4 this, or this person has a surprise mass in their colon, and you
Yep.
got to tell the family, and no one wants to talk about it, but you're like, oh, shouldn't they be told? Hello. um, like it's we and then palliative care. I remember doing a palliative care rotations, and we never had these conversations.
Oh,
And
you should have on palliative care. That makes me sad. You definitely
yeah, like how to
they should
deal
have
with.
it.
No, I don't remember these conversations about the physician. It was more focused on the patient, but never the impact on the physician. It was
So
never
yeah,
done.
yeah.
And it's sad, but it's true. Like moral injury,
Mhm.
part of it. Um,
100%. It's part of
right?
it. 100%.
Right?
Right. So
No, go ahead. What were you saying?
moral injury, that's so important. I'm so glad you brought that up.
Yeah, no worries.
Moral injury, right, is when we have a feeling that something should happen a certain way and it's blocked. So we're
Mm-hmm.
not allowed or we are witnessing something that shouldn't happen in the way it's happening, which happens all the time.
Oh, yes.
You think a patient should get a certain level of care, a certain kind of care, and you witness them not getting that kind of care. And then you see them suffering for that and you feel for them. That's a moral.
Yeah,
If we're
definitely.
trying to show up for a patient a certain way and insurance won't let us do that, or administration won't let us do that, or some other reason won't let us do that, that's moral injury. All of that impacts us as clinicians.
100%. And recently I saw that even in real life, and it's frustrating. Um, it's definitely frustrating, but it's something that we should be all aware of. And, I think moral injury, with that comes like, compassion fatigue, right? It's like, okay,
Mhm.
yeah, sometimes you get tired of caring to that level, or it's like you get frustrated because you're going to hit this wall, like you said, insurance, reimbursement, politics, whatever, whatever, right? Or program gets shut down or whatever.
Right.
And it can lead to compassion fatigue, right? So what can we do? Because this journey for medicine is like it's no walk in the park. Even though we're working on making it more
Yeah.
human centered, more empathetic, more like, oh, you're not gonna do call for 72 hours straight,
Right.
or whatever it is now, 10 hours, whatever the limit is, I don't know. But in reality, you're still working that long anyway because you still have obligations, patients to round on, whatever, whatever. But we'll just call it this.
Right.
What can physicians do to avoid this?
Yeah, that's such a great question. And compassion fatigue, honestly, can happen even if things are going well, which is
Yes.
rarer in medicine, even when it's going well. Just giving and giving and giving and seeing other people's trauma. So, secondary traumatization leads to compassion fatigue, where you just feel like I gave all the things that I could give, and I still am
Mm-hmm.
supposed to show up as a giver, and I'm empty.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think of it as really three big buckets of things that we need to do that are helpful. And they are awareness, rituals, and space. And
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what I mean by that. So
Yes.
for awareness, just even being aware that compassion fatigue is a thing, because some people don't even think about it. They're just like go, 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 go. And then they wonder why they're exhausted and they snap at their people at
Exactly.
home and they don't want to go to work. They don't know what that is. We say everything is burnout now. Not everything is really burnout. Compassion
No.
fatigue is its own thing. So
Mm-hmm.
awareness that compassion fatigue exists and looking at yourself. And then, like I said before, self-awareness of what pushes your buttons. So
Yes.
for me, when I had little kids, my kids are older now, but when I had little kids, and I was doing hospice, they asked our team, they said, "Oh, we're going to start taking in pediatric patients. Would you like us to add them to your team?" And I went, no,
Still
like I
goes to
had little
happen.
kids. I
Yeah.
couldn't do it. I knew that, oh my gosh, if I have to care for dying children who are the ages of my children,
Mm-hmm.
that will put me over the edge. So just having aware of like what are your buttons? What are the hardest things for you so that you know, ooh, I'm about to see that patient and that patient really reminds me of my dad and I know that's really going to deplete me. I need to go talk to somebody afterwards. I need to take a walk afterwards. Tonight I'm going to need to take a bath and write in my journal and do a little meditation. So
Yeah.
just awareness in general that you could have compassion fatigue and when is it more likely to happen for you? So that's one, awareness.
Yeah, I like that because with awareness, you can prepare, right? You can have a
Exactly.
restorative events, like
Exactly.
you said, a bath, maybe whatever you need to do to just decompress. Maybe you need to, you know, take, a half day off, whatever it is,
Exactly.
revisit, think something, maybe honor somebody in your life. Like maybe it's, I don't know, a
Yeah.
grave you need to go visit or something to
Yep.
just know that, okay, this is gonna take from me. This is gonna like take some from my cup, and that's okay.
Yep.
But what's not okay is not trying to refill it, right?
Exactly
You
that.
have to be consciously keeping the net energy positive. Keep that tank full, or at
Right.
very least halfway. And for us that live in like winter cold places, it's like you definitely don't let your tank go below quarter tank because it might freeze.
Right.
So,
Right.
so I like to keep at least the half, three quarters max. Like you need to, but if anything, ideally when it comes to life and showing up as a person, a physician, a healer, a care provider, clinician, is coming from a place of abundance where I say, I
Yeah.
like to give from my overflow, where my cup is overflow, it's bubbling, and people see that energy, that love, that
Yeah.
exuberance, and they're like, I want that. And it's okay,
Right.
it's easy for me to give them because I'm like, well, it's just gonna go to waste. So here you go. Here's some
Right.
love. Pump it, fist it. Woo, yeah, let's do this. Like that's just me. And when I operate there, it's a lot easier when, something comes your way that wasn't expected, or some cloud of a person comes your way. Because again, you're coming from a place of um extra abundance. Ideally, again, this is my ideal. And I think
Yep.
on this podcast, we like to talk about what is ideal. We're done with mediocre, average. Oh, it's okay. It's the way it is. Just say Sarah, whatever, whatever. No, 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 no. We have too many lives negatively impacted and their families impacted by this world of medicine, which we largely chose to do, and we're still in it,
Yeah.
1 decade, 2 decades, three, some I've seen as much as 4 or 5 decades later, right? So, yeah, we got to be
Yeah,
mindful.
I think you're so right. And I love this image. I use it myself of where is your cup? Because
Mm-hmm.
if you are depleted, you can't give that
No,
bubbling, wonderful, juicy stuff to other people. You
no.
just can't. And that's why awareness is so important, right? If you're driving on a long drive and you never look at your gas tank, eventually that's going to be a problem, right?
Yeah,
You need awareness about what's in my gas tank and how long is it till the next gas station. And this is
exactly.
kind of the same thing, right? And if you're going up a really steep hill and you don't have much gas, you need to be aware, like, ooh, I don't have much gas and a steep hill's coming. Maybe I should go to this gas station before I go up that steep hill.
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
some awareness of how full am I and how much is this thing that's coming at me about to take from me. So awareness of the environment, awareness of yourself, awareness of what pushes your buttons is really important for preventing or managing compassion fatigue. That's the
Yeah,
first thing.
exactly. In coaching in this world, we talk about reframing. It's an important skill I wish everyone had, but I mean, we're going to talk about it. And I also like imagery, right? In medicine, we talk about like chocolate cysts and raspberry this and,
Yeah,
donut this, like it's blueberry this, like this,
that's
there's
funny, right?
something, right? But we also talk about flowers. Can you share about flowers and your reframing when you talk about flowers?
Sure, absolutely. What I talk about is finding flowers in the poop.
Yes.
I use it for myself. I've used it for my patients for years. And here's the concept that every situation in life has some amount of good and some
Yes.
amount of bad.
Yes.
All of them. Some of
Yes.
them are more good than bad. Some of them are more bad than good.
Yes.
But where you focus your attention has a huge impact on how you feel and how you can show up for yourself.
Yeah.
So here's a silly example. This is just a silly example, but I'll give you a real example in a minute. But a silly example is you are going to a picnic with your people, but also other people you don't know, and you made your favorite potato salad and you're so proud of yourself because you think it's really good. And then nobody ate it. But it
Mm.
was a beautiful day and people did have fun and you talked to people you hadn't seen in a while, but nobody ate your potato salad.
Mm-hmm.
So you could talk about that situation in one of two ways. You could say, oh my gosh, I went to the most amazing picnic. It was a beautiful day. The kids were playing. I got to talk to this friend I hadn't seen in a while, and it was really great. And oh, I take back my potato salad, but whatever. Or you could frame it as, can you believe that I spent all that time putting together that potato salad and nobody ate it?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
It's the same picnic,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's the same picnic. So you make a decision when you put on your flower glasses to
Mm-hmm.
look for the things that are good in even a difficult situation.
Yeah.
So even in the worst of the worst situations, so say somebody really close to you died, which
Yes.
is generally a lot of poop. That's a
Yes.
terrible situation.
Definitely.
And I'm not at all saying you should be putting toxic positivity on it. I don't believe in that. I'm not
Same
saying you should
here.
say, oh, it happened for a reason. No, it didn't. It's a ton of poop. It's
Yes.
terrible. It's
Definitely.
terrible. And also, maybe you got reconnected with a friend you hadn't seen in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe you found some internal strength that you didn't even know you had,
Mm-hmm.
right? So even in the worst of the worst poop situations, there are flowers if you choose to look for them.
100%.
And so one of the things that I find really helpful that I do for myself, like all day, every day, I do this every day, is this phrase, which I teach people to. And the phrase is, I don't like blank, or if you want to use this word, I hate blank,
Mm-hmm.
and also blank.
Mm.
So I don't like, this is not me, but a person might say, I don't like
Right.
that I have cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I have fantastic doctors.
Mm.
So
Mm.
I don't like that my husband just got diagnosed with diabetes. And also, we have the resources to buy healthy food.
Exactly.
You can even do ones that are not connected. They don't have to be connected. It could
Mm.
be, I don't like that I was so late for that meeting and they made fun of me. And also, I had a great sandwich for lunch.
Mm.
So it is really a practice to learn gratitude, essentially, to intentionally, even in a difficult situation, turn your head to the side, put on your flower glasses, and look for, but this is real and tough, and yes, but what little positive things do I see in this day, in this experience? So it is honestly a life-changing way to go through life. It doesn't say bad things don't happen.
Of
Bad
course.
things happen all the time. There's a lot of poop.
Yeah.
And also we can choose, even in a tough situation, to look for the flowers.
100%. When I coach my clients, one of the first questions I ask is, what's been good this week? Even
Mhm.
though I know they're going through, all kinds of stuff, but what's been good? Because our minds are wired to first look for danger, first look for the sadness, first look for that thing, where
Mhm.
we have to try to find the good, even if you're waist high in poop. Like, just put up your,
Mhm.
you know, just it is what it is. It's life. It brings character.
Yeah,
It brings perspective. It brings my belief that one can still have joy even if you're not necessarily happy.
absolutely.
Because joy is from this deep wellspring that is
Yeah.
not impacted per se by life, the forecast, the news, the stocks, the thing, because there's something deeper. Yeah,
Mhm.
there's things that are poopy, but you still have joy.
Correct. And I think it's so important to make space for both.
Yeah.
I think of it this way with I have two hands out.
Mm-hmm.
You can hold opposing ideas at the same time, one in each hand. Because
Yes.
if we just try to say, there's no bad, everything's great, that's
Yeah.
positivity. That is not helpful. And
No.
that makes people go underground with their difficult feelings and feel like they can't express them. That's not helpful either.
No, not
You
at
want to
all.
say, yeah, this is tough in the one hand. And also, here's this other thing. Here's that, really beautiful bird we just saw, or wow, that flower's poking
Yeah.
up from the concrete, or I had that really nice interchange with a woman at the store, a stranger, right? There's always a thing. So just making space for both the tough stuff, the poop, and the joyful, beautiful, special, authentic, awe-inspiring stuff, the flowers.
Yeah. That's good. I'm gonna actually use that with my kids, especially in the summer, but when they go back to school. You know how kids are like, Mommy,
Yeah.
this person is mean to me. They don't talk to me. Like my kids are young. That's that's why my oldest. I love her, but I it gets a lot. But well, yeah, reinforce, okay. Oh, it's good? Okay. Or, how did you impact someone's life positively or something? But yeah, you're right. Getting used to talking about it's okay to talk that poop happens. It's okay to
Yeah,
talk about quote unquote negative feelings. Like it's
right.
okay. Like I think in a world where people are so triggered and positivity, like people just shy away from talking about this sucks.
Yeah,
You
both things are true.
know?
Exactly. This
Exactly.
sucks. This does suck. And also something
It's
else.
true.
And also
Exactly.
the dog is cute,
Yeah.
right? And also we had fun yesterday at the whatever. Both things
Yeah.
are true. We used to do
Exactly.
with our we used to do with our kids at the dinner table, best thing, worst thing. Some people call it
Ah,
flower roses and thorns, where you
ah,
say one we started with the bad thing. What's one, the bad thing that happened today, but we end with the good thing. What's one good thing that happened today? Which I hope teaches them both are okay. You can say that you didn't like X thing. You don't have to
yeah.
pretend because you didn't like that. And also, here's a good thing that happened. It just trains the ability to make space for both ways of being, because that's real life, as you said.
That is real life. I love it. Thorns and roses, you said?
Roses and thorns. Roses
Roses
and
and thorns.
thorns.
Yeah, no, I like that. Yeah, definitely just normalize these conversations, getting used to it. So as here's my analogy. So you don't become emotionally constipated because a lot of people
Exactly.
are emotionally constipated. I don't know.
Exactly.
That is my original. I don't know if anyone else put it out there, but this is my original. I've been saying this for like well over a decade.
I love it.
Most people are. You talk about feelings, they get red in the face, like, like it's a judgment. I'm like, no, this is all feelings are valid. I tell my patients, whether you're angry, sad, frustrated, happy, scared, like it's all valid
All
and
valid.
real.
Yep.
But what are we gonna do about them? We have to recognize the feelings of where they come from.
Yep.
Right? We have to sit in it, sit in a poop for a little bit, and then what's next?
Right. And
Right?
so when I think about the three things that are helpful, awareness, rituals, and space, we talked about
Mm-hmm.
awareness. I think rituals are important too. So
Mm-hmm.
what I think we all need to have is a let it go ritual. So I always
Yes.
have used shaking, when I was
Shake
in
it
clinical
off.
practice.
What's
It,
it? What's that singer? You know who I'm talking about? Taylor Swift. Well, maybe you didn't
yes,
think shake it, but I'm thinking shake it off. And I always go
shake
let
it
it go.
off. Exactly.
Frozen, let it go.
Exactly. Let it go. Exactly.
Yeah.
When I was in clinical practice, if I would come out of a room and I'd be shaking my arms, my team would say, "Woo, Dr. C had a difficult patient," because
Ooh, I
that's
like
what
that.
that meant. It meant like, oh, yuck has come my way, and
Yes.
I'm not going to let it get inside me. I need to shake it off.
Yeah.
Right. So some let it go ritual. It could be
Yeah.
shaking. It could be blowing, like breathing, blow it all
Yeah.
out. It could be
Wusa.
water on your face,
Yeah.
could be run in place for a minute. There's doesn't matter what it is, but just something where you now have acknowledged, ooh, yuck came to me, meaning was a patient angry at me or a child got some terrible diagnosis, so the family was all crying and it really hurt my
Yeah.
heart. Like I don't want to hold that forever because if you keep seeing patients and you keep holding everybody's
You will
difficult feelings,
transfer
you
that.
can't.
Yeah, you'll transfer it. Yeah. One of the guests on the show recently said how for her hand washing, when she obviously we're supposed to hand wash, but hand washing is
Exactly.
also ritualistic, like because it's
Yep.
water cleansing. It's like, okay, whatever was in that room, God bless them, but I'm not going to take that with me, you know?
Exactly.
And then obviously, yeah, you do your the rituals and they become normalized.
They are. You can like wipe it off, like something on
Yeah.
your arms. You can wipe off your hands. But
Yeah.
everybody should know what is your let it go ritual.
Yeah, I like that.
Because it's not just for work. It's also if your kids yell at you,
Oh,
you have a fuss
yes.
with your spouse or a
Yes.
friend or someone in the store is mean to you. And don't hold it. Just be like, ooh, that was yucky. I need to you do my let it go ritual to get rid of that energy. So we all should have at least one. You could have more, but at least one that you know exactly what it is because stuff comes our way and we don't need to hold that.
Definitely. Well, I know when I drop off my kids at daycare what we're listening to in the car. Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. And that'll be a fun breakout session. My kids love dancing and music. So it's like, okay, we're gonna
Perfect.
think of all the things that bothered you. Let's just shake it off. And I have girls, so
Perfect.
little divas.
I
Awesome. I
have two
like
girls.
it. I like it. And all right. So really, this is all great. This is all practical. This is all things that people can start with today, right? And
Yep,
let's get
absolutely.
that
And
awareness.
the last thing that I think is important for coping with all of this heavy emotion is space. Mean,
Yes.
meaning try to hold some space for yourself that's not about work.
Yeah.
It's so easy for just to bleed in. We're doing charts at home. We're thinking, even if we're cooking, we're thinking about this patient interaction we had.
Mm.
Stop that. So
Yeah.
if you have to do work from home, which I understand, sometimes people have to do work from home, try to
Yes.
put a box around it. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe you only do it in one particular place, and maybe you set a timer. When it's done, you're done, or some kind of ritual that separates work from home. So some ritual when you leave the office, maybe it's in the car, when you're walking to the car, whatever, where you're like work is closing and home is opening. And
Mm.
even if you have to do work from home, do it again with the work you're doing from home. Like close the work so that now when you're home, not working, there is no work. But that also means you've got to do it in your head. So you
Mm-hmm.
can use a technique called thought stopping, which
Mm-hmm.
is basically when you have a thought that you is not helpful for you, you literally say out loud and put your hand up like a stop sign, stop.
Mm-hmm.
Stop, meaning I'm done with work, but I'm going, God, I can't believe that happened in that meeting and that patient. And then I'm thinking about things. Stop, rub your hands together, take a deep
Mm-hmm.
breath, and replace that thought with whatever you're doing right now. Right now I'm cooking, right now I'm cooking, right now I'm cooking, right now I'm cooking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that patient, stop, rub your
Mm-hmm.
hands together, take a deep breath, say what you're doing right now. Right now I'm cooking, right now I'm cooking, right now I'm cooking. Because
Definitely.
otherwise the work yuck just can bleed into your entire day the whole time you're at work and the whole time you're at home. And without space to refill, to be without work, we get burnt out. We really do. And so we have to
100%.
make that space. No one's going to give you that space. You got to make it for
No.
yourself.
And I like how you it's like when you're speaking, you're reading my mind. Like, oh, we're reading each other's mind. We're just vibing here. But
I
yeah,
know.
what happens at work, that negative, that poop, if you're not careful, it can seep into you come home and that's usually when most people like take
Yep.
off the smiley face and just like, huh, what a day. You know what I mean? They like some people take it out on their, their partner, their wife, their husband, their pet, their kid.
Yep.
They become these ogres. And it's not good because we talk about burnout, the impact of, work, and in my view, it also impacts obviously your relationships with self,
For
with
sure.
your significant other, your tribe, if we're not careful. And that's why it's really important to be mindful, really. And this process that you're talking about from, looking at things that may trigger us, prepare for it, have rituals, have hold space, being able to talk about flowers in the poop, keeping it real. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like keeping
Yeah,
it real.
exactly.
This toxic positivity BS.
Oh, thank you for saying that. I can't
Yeah.
stand that. It's
Like
it's
as if
people are so black and white. Like either if you talk about gratitude or positivity at all, people are all like, yeah, there's no problems, everything's great. You should
Hakuna
never be sad about
Matata.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
That's
like you're
BS. I'm sorry.
total BS. As if you're don't stink. You know what I mean? Like really?
Exactly.
Who do you think you are, huh? Right?
Life is all the things. It's hard and it's awesome, both.
Yeah. Yeah, it can be hard on us. And speaking of that, let's talk about medicine. um Medicine is hard and it's awesome. Like
Correct.
let's be okay with acknowledging the fact that we willingly studied really hard, wrote a bunch of exams, subjected ourselves to torture,
Right.
sleep deprivation tactics that started in medieval ages, and got paid minimally for it, by choice, right?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yep.
we did this to ourselves. We decided to
Right.
become doctors. Hmm?
Right. Yep.
Yeah, it's hard, but it's rewarding, right? There's a
Yep.
sacrifice, but there's also a blessing.
Yep.
It's there's poop in the flowers, and some days you gotta dig deep, put a mask on, put Vicks in your nostrils, and dig deep
Right.
before you can find that little wilted little flower and be like, "Oh, what a nice flower you were," you know?
Right.
And
Yep.
it's the reality.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say too, we're not trapped. People feel trapped. There are
No.
so many ways to be a doctor. There are
Yes.
so many different kinds of schedules. There are different
Yeah.
ways you can use your knowledge. You can be only in the clinic. You can do research. You can
Yeah.
educate. There's a million ways to use all of that knowledge that we got. But
100%.
if you don't self-reflect about what you need, you just are like, I have to do it this way and I'm miserable and
Yeah.
it's terrible. And that's not helpful.
No, you're so right. Like there's so many transferable skills and there's skills that you can learn. Hello. And you can have fun learning them, right?
Yes,
So you can
right.
have doesn't have to be all clinical medicine. That's even in my life. I don't do all clinical medicine.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, sprinkle of this, had some fun, had some play, right? Talk to people that makes me like you.
exactly.
I have fun, paid and unpaid work that brings
It-
me joy. Don't get me wrong. I don't do that soul sucking stuff, but yeah, and and use your voice, but know yourself because when you know yourself, you know what you need to. Excuse me. Let me just take a drink. I'm gonna edit this out.
Me too.
Yeah, for sure. Have a drink. When you know yourself, you know that you can fill your plate with different things. You know it's not all gonna be like, if it's meat and potatoes is your thing, and maybe you don't like Brussels sprouts. There'll be some Brussels sprouts in there, but at least there'll be some meat you can gravy, you can cut them in little pieces and swallow it. I'm not a big fan of Brussels
Exactly.
sprouts. I love vegetables, but that one, it's on the ick
It's not
list.
for you.
I'll take asparagus, I'll take broccoli. My kids calls it brock tree. Yeah, so I'll take brock tree, broccoli, anything, Brussels sprouts. I wrap it with
It's,
bacon now. That's I might take it.
but
But
this is a
yeah,
great metaphor. This is a
yeah.
great metaphor because I love Brussels sprouts.
Oh,
And so
right.
people think that things are either good or bad. They're
Mm-mm.
not. That's why you have to self-reflect. What do
Mm-hmm.
you like? Right? If
Mm-hmm.
I if I had to eat Brussels sprouts with olive oil and some Parmesan cheese and baked forever in my life, I'd be thrilled. If you had to do that, you'd be miserable. So you got to know yourself and then you got to arrange your environment in a way that feeds you. That's so important.
And also, you also have to know how to cook. If you're good
Yes.
at a certain thing,
Yes. If you
I think
boil
it's
them, I'm not eating them.
yeah, exactly. But note stuff. I'm like, I didn't make my Brussels sprouts like the way you're talking. I want to do Brussels sprouts. But I'm a really good cook, just not Brussels sprouts. Okay, just I know my way around the kitchen, but boiling, okay, you're onto something. Yeah, I could do
Now,
that.
I'll broil them. You might like them. You might like them.
Exactly. But yeah, knowing yourself, having fun, connecting with people, recognizing that we're humans, not robots, even though we act like robots.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
but yeah, life is beautiful. Medicine is chaotic. Medicine can be traumatic. Medicine can be joyful. Medicine can be life-giving. Medicine can make you question your existence on earth. It's all the above,
Exactly.
but stay grounded.
Exactly. And truthfully, people have asked me, isn't palliative care depressing? And I think it's the exact opposite, basically, because of what we're saying. Because when you see how in front of you how short life is and that we're not guaranteed forever, you realize, well, I want to live my life to make myself happy right now. Right. A
Yeah.
lot of people, once they get cancer, for example, they reshape their life. Oh, I'm not doing that thing I hate anymore. I'm going to do these other things that I like.
Mm-hmm.
What I thought when I first started seeing that was, hey, how about if I learn that before I get cancer?
Thank you. Exactly. Why wait till then? Why have the bucket list at the very end? Live your
Right,
whole life, like carpe diem, like live life, like
exactly.
just live it every day with love, exuberance, being honesty, courageous, heart-centered, you know,
That,
all those things that are crucial. Empathy that comes with heart-centered. It's
yeah,
so
including for
important.
yourself, empathy for yourself too.
Yeah,
Naturally.
self-compassion. Yeah, exactly. You know, I love the work you do, and I really believe in healing the healers. Like honestly, if it's as a whole, if physicians, clinicians really got this, my God, it would be insurance won't stop us.
I
Nothing.
know,
It
right?
will no stop. Like we just keep on going. We are powerful. We are a very intelligent, resilient group of
Yes,
individuals,
yes.
right? But
That's why I think it's so, I love what you do. I think it's so important for people to realize that they're not trapped in feeling miserable. Sometimes you
no,
can stay where you are and change your own stuff and be less miserable. Sometimes you need to change your schedule. Sometimes you need a different kind of work in order to feel filled up and be positive. All of that's fine, but it's our responsibility to figure out what we need and to make it happen.
100%. It's definitely our responsibility. And you know what? Sometimes in this whole responsibility piece, we need people to help support us. So,
Yeah.
Dr. Chiamonte, how, for our listeners who are like, okay, this lady is speaking to the choir, and perhaps they're in your area, how can they reach you if they want to hear more about the work you do, etc.? I
Sure.
guess this, yeah.
Yeah, sure. So they can connect with me through the website, integrativepalliative.com. If they click, I want to connect, they'll get to me. They can email me through there directly too. And then also, I would say if you are interested in the serious illness space at all, the podcast, integrativepalliative.com, the Integrative Palliative Podcast is a great place to hear more about the stuff that I
Mhm.
talk about and reach out to me. I coach individual physicians on their own well-being. I coach often clinicians who have an ill loved one
Mm,
because even when we know so much, when it's our own family member, the stuff we know goes out the window because now we're the daughter or the son or the spouse and it's different.
mm.
And then I do speaking and teaching. So if anybody feels called to connect, please connect. I really would appreciate it. I love connecting with like-minded people.
Oh yeah, you definitely have to connect. You have warm spirit. Like I is
Just like you.
thank
I'm
you.
so
Yeah, you
glad. I'm so glad to meet you. I just feel like I love the work that you do, and we seem to be on parallel paths, which I think is just
100%, 100%. Awesome. Well, thanks again for being here. I appreciate it. And to our listeners, I always say thank you for sharing your most precious resource, which is your time. That's my thing. We don't know how much we're given on this earth, but you gifted us your time, and we don't take that for granted. Year after year, you show up, you share, you leave great comments. We appreciate it. This is a message, honestly, for everyone. You don't have to be a physician, a clinician to know that just being a human citizen in this world, you will be exposed to trauma. And I think now more than ever, for many people, they are reliving trauma or really getting a taste of trauma that was, long past. Even COVID was one trauma. The world is now has its own trauma. So remember that it's okay to acknowledge that something is hurtful, something bothers you, but it's also good to establish the practice of finding flowers in poop, finding the good in the ugly. And sometimes you have to be very creative, but acknowledging it, two different realities about the same thing. So Thanks again. God bless you. Appreciate you. Don't take you for granted. Till next time, this is your host, Dr. Tomi Mitchell from the Mental Health and Wellness Show. Goodbye.